Same.
Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention I didn't get to see this year, I have the access to see it, I just didn't get a chance to, was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
When you just now when you say it, it makes me realize that my entire list goes out the window because all I did was live action, and stupidly,
it was a good year for animation.
It was a fantastic year for animation. In the last one we talked about Transformer 1, we talked about Wild Robot, we talked about other stuff. There's a bunch of animated films that came out last year. Inside Out 2, like the list is long. Like animation had a good year, 2024. Funny enough, I think the pandemic helped the animation because it gave things time to breathe, maybe, as opposed to them always feeling they're under a crunch. I don't know. But all that to say, they did it. They delivered on these films, and my dumbass did not put animation on the list because I'm an idiot.
For me, I kind of did what you were doing. You were kind of looking over the 5-year gap.
Yeah,
and I just kind of threw some stuff together. I have a long honorable mentions list, but and then my 5-year list. And then my 5-year list is kind of not really based on one, 5 to 1 or whatever. It's just kind of, meh.
I just know that I did this wrong. Now that you, I'm literally, as we speak, adding Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse to my list right now because I can't. I'm a dum-dum.
Right.
It's a fantastic film. And hold on, I'm trying to see, when did it even get? It got released in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's. People, sometimes you tell people things. You're just like, hey, let's make a top 5 of the past 5.
Yes.
And then you yourself don't do the thing that you tell people to do, and then you have to realize that you don't know what you're doing. Welcome to another edition. We're here to talk about more movies. The whole crew unfortunately couldn't be here. We also have Dave's list that we have to go through at some point. I feel like it's unfair to go through Dave's list because, knowing me, I'll want to pick apart some of his list and he won't be here to defend it. But if anything, that also brings me great joy of the idea that he will be watching this at some point and be so annoyed.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna be
come after him, Dave, not me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because Dave, I already saw some of the list, and I'm not saying anything, but you don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm joking. I'm
100% on his case.
Always, because that's the only way to do it. The only way, okay, hold on. Let me just pull up his list. Let's okay. So Dave did it differently, which I actually appreciate. Dave did it one best and one worst for each year in the past 5 years, which is that's actually a fun way to do it. And I will give him credit, but I'm already annoyed with some of the things I see on his list. Still.
Well, I would say I would want him to defend his list. I don't want to go through it and then.
No, we're still going to go through it. I won't crack on it. I won't crack on it. I promise you. I won't. I can resist. I can resist. I have the power to be better than I have been in the past.
We'll see.
Well, when you set me up like that, then I kind of want to shit off stuff. But I won't. Because already I can say I agree with one of his selections. I agree with his number 1. So I'm going to pull up his number 1. I'm typing it in now. I'm going to pull it up. Once again, we're using Letterboxd. If you guys aren't on Letterboxd, we're not sponsored by Letterboxd, but Ness invited me to Letterboxd years ago. She speaks volumes of it, of how great it is to keep track of all your movies and whatnot, and the things that you like, and films that you like, whether they be theatrical or Netflix or streaming films. They're all on there, and it's really fun. I like it as a service to keep track of that stuff because I'm really bad. So I'll share it right now on the screen. So this is Dave's number 1 film for 2020. And it feels very Dave of him to have picked this film. And I also like it because it's something that I love. And I'll explain in a second. Dave's best film for 2020 was Palm Springs. Palm Springs, starring Andy Samberg, Kristen Milotti,
Oh,
Melody, who is blowing up right now
mm-hmm.
because of Penguin, because of
right.
like the USS Callister, which was a Black Mirror episode that she starred in, Palm Spring in 2020. Like she has been
Isn't she the
doing
mom from How I Met
How I
Your
Met
Mother?
Your Mother.
Isn't she
Yes,
the title mother?
yes, she is the mother. She is mother, as my friends would say, but not in that context, because that mother is, anyways. But so she is. For those of you who know me, and if you do follow me on Letterboxd, you know that I have a list that is called time manipulation films. So it's just films about time travel and time loops, because those are two of my favorite genres. And Palm Springs is a time loop film that stars Andy Samberg and Kristen Milotti. J.K. Simmons is also in it. Peter Gallagher is in it. It's a really good cast, and he listed it as his favorite movie for 2020. I gotta say, I'm actually shocked that his favorite movie of 2020 is a kind of Groundhog's Day movie, because everyone felt like 2020 in of itself felt like a loop.
Yeah, that was, but I think that's what made it kind of blow up.
Maybe.
Everyone was feeling it for that, like,
yeah. And you know, the movie is pretty fun because it like part of, you know, the movie is called Palm Springs. Part of it is that it takes place in Palm Springs, and Andy Samberg plays, the way the movie is done is kind of like if Andy Samberg was the Bill Murray character, where he's already been doing the loop for a long time, but you introduce a new person who's new to the loop, and they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And then them and Andy Samberg end up working together to be like, well, how do we get out of this?
Yeah, how we get out of this time loop.
Yeah. And I think one of the things, so if I'm not mistaken, one of the ideas for Groundhog's Day was the fact that it was supposed to be like 1,000 years that he'd been living this loop, and that he had kind of become distraught and kind of crazy with it. And I almost feel like Samberg's version in this film is kind of a bit of that, kind of this, like, because he does seem like defeated with it. He acts kind of crazy throughout the film, and you're like, why does he act like that? And I think part of it is because he feels defeated by everything that's going on, which is fair. His worst film of 2020 is a film that's on my list. It's not one of my best films by any measure of it, but it is on my list because it is a superhero movie, and that is, of course, the awful, and I agree with him on this one, I think, Wonder Woman 1984 by Patty Jenkins, which I've seen. So the fact that I forgot to write that I've marked it and I give it 2 stars is shocking. But there you go. You guys got to witness me once again rate a movie on Letterboxd. Yeah, the movie has an overall rating of 2.1.
The fall off is hard on this one from the first to the second one. And I remember, I think you gave the first one a 3, I want to say.
Possibly,
like it wasn't you liked it, but you didn't like it as much as everybody else liked it. Well, because of the ending. I remember that. That was your big thing, was the ending.
Hate the third act so much.
Just meh. And then this one just feels weird and a big waste, I guess. It's crazy you get to see her. I didn't see this movie, but it's crazy you get to see her in the god armor that she would wear in Kingdom Come.
Dude.
Like, she gets that, but then meh.
Honestly, I think the thing that bothers me the most about them using that armor is, as a fan of Kingdom Come 2007, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I thought it was earlier
than that.
Hold on,
double check, because I might, you're right, I might be wrong. It's just that I know 2007 is around when I got into comic books and collecting.
So Kingdom Come 4-issue comic book miniseries, 1996.
Oh, okay, yes. But do you know when the
second one, Deliverance?
Yeah, because there's something that came out in 2007. I could be wrong. Oh no, I know what I'm thinking of. I know what I'm thinking of. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Crime Syndicate of America meets the Justice League, which was one of the first comics that got me back into reading comics in 2007.
Sorry. Is this part of the New 52? Thy Kingdom Come?
No. I totally am wrong. 1996 makes sense though. My godfather got me the first issue of Kingdom Come, and then I proceeded to get the other 3. That's when I became obsessed with Alex Ross. I love his stuff. I even have the Alex Ross like art book from Dynamite. It's, you know, Alex Ross is one of my favorite artists in the industry, hands down. So But yes, so that armor though, because you're right, that armor, Kingdom Come, significant to fans because it was used in a very specific moment in the comic. It represents like the culmination of the big three returning to their strength, and Superman has no longer given up but has hope again, because that's a big part of Superman's lore. Hope is an important aspect of him, but Kingdom Come starts with him not having hope. So watching them use that armor that means so much to me in a movie that I feel doesn't pay homage to Wonder Woman the way it should was annoying and really upsetting for me. So I definitely do agree with Dave that when it comes to 2020 and bad films, I can see it. I can say that Wonder Woman, God,
screwed the pooch.
Yeah. And I don't, and I think one of the difficult parts of it is I don't know if I can put that entirely on Patty Jenkins' shoulders either.
I think it was COVID as well, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
I feel like a lot of things really hurt the project. And and the kind of everyone panicking and being like, we still have to release these movies is one of the things that I think led to projects. And I think also Dave's 2021 worst, I think, got affected by this, and I think is one of the reasons it was one of the worst. I don't think so, but I can agree with him that it wasn't done well. So I'll start with his favorite movie for 2021, which I think was a great film, Free Guy.
Okay.
Sean Levy, who is also the director for Deadpool, and Ryan Reynolds, obviously doing his kind of
his shtick.
Another one that I didn't review. God, there's so many movies I haven't reviewed that I gotta. My Letterboxd is behind. Apologies, folks. You're seeing how bad of a track record I keep with Letterboxd, but you can do better. But yeah, Free Guy was. What are your thoughts? Did you see Free Guy?
No, I didn't see Free Guy.
Okay.
I did want to see it, but I was like,
The Free Guy for me really leans into the fact that it's a shtick. It like what's another movie that it makes me think of? What's the end of the world one with Seth and that whole like crew of Apatow guys? This is the end of the world, or the end of the world.
This is the end.
Yeah, something like that. You know how like that movie.
This is the end.
Yeah. So you know how that film is kind of just them all playing hyper versions of themselves. This movie is it's kind of doing a thing where Ryan Reynolds is playing the hyper good guy version that he, I think, aspires to be, or at least the image of what he aspires to be. And he plays it because he plays the character. You know how you were talking in the last episode about how Goku plays so innocent early on. Like he is
innocent. He doesn't. The only person he knows in his life is his grandfather.
Right.
And he just thinks, he interacts with animals.
Right.
They're just up front.
So
he doesn't really interact with humans. The first human he interacts with is Bulma.
Right.
She does her thing,
And when you watch Free Guy, you are watching a baby because he's a game sprite who doesn't know he's a game sprite, and then learns that he's in the game, and then the training wheels come off, and he becomes...
it's a fish out of water. It's almost like the Lego movie.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, so much. Yes. Very perfect example. So when you watch the film and the action's good because the physics don't make sense in the universe because it's game physics, so they can do pretty much anything. And he becomes like a folk hero to the people because everyone who plays the game is seeing him run around doing all this cool stuff, and he can't die. But ultimately, like, he's just playing this excessively good, perfect, idealistic version, and I feel like Ryan Reynolds likes playing that character. Almost too much. Sorry, Ryan. I feel like you're doing it too much. Dave's worst film of 2021, and I would say a film that only got this. I get what he's saying, but I think what I was saying before with 2020, this film is hurt by the pandemic and thus is what it is. Eternals.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which I again, I really keep bad records of the
Someone
stuff.
hasn't been up to date.
How do I
Naughty,
feel?
naughty.
This is a 2.5. It's a 3. It's a 3. Okay, yeah. You know what? I'll put 3, but I won't put that I liked it. I don't hate it, but I didn't like it. So one of the things that Eternals, I think, suffers from is the fact that the pandemic came. They were making the movie, and
I would say, I mean, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But the fact that there's so much characters.
Yeah.
And, just from a visual standpoint, from this image,
yeah,
it's a bunch of like, good actors that they have to play all these people.
Yeah.
And there's no, I'm assuming there's no really one antagonist, except they're all CGI monsters kind of thing.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure there's a plot twist at some
Right.
point.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I'm saying like on the face of it, and it's a lot of people you got to introduce for one movie, and I don't know. I don't even know if you get to enjoy them for a little bit. You don't get to really know their person. I'm assuming you don't get to know their personality for it. It's just like, hey, this is my intro. Boom, let's go. Here's my intro. Boom, let's go.
You know what? I would say
much. That's too much.
I agree.
For me to give a crap about in one movie.
Yeah,
it's too much.
I'll agree with you there. And they do have more characters than the example I'm about to give, but Gunn figured out how to do it with both the Suicide Squad and Guardians. He figured out how to do large ensembles where you felt, even in the first film, even if I don't get the full background story of every character, I felt like I got enough to enjoy each character.
Because I kind of feel with those two, or at least with more so Guardians, it's like you had an ensemble cast, but it felt like it was like maybe it felt more of a handful.
Okay,
it felt like it could have been 5, 6.
Yeah.
And in that image you showed, it looked like 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, let me add it back to the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh shit, yeah, 10. Exactly. You're right.
It's a bit much. It
is a lot.
Much,
yeah. 5 to 10 is a lot. And yeah, I guess you're right, because even in the Suicide Squad,
I feel like 5 is okay, because I kind of think about Beast Wars, the first season of Beast Wars, or the first season of Reboot, where it's like, Bob, Dot, Enzo. That's 3, and then you got secondary characters. So Beast Wars is what's his name? Optimus Primal, Rat Trap,
Cheetor,
Rhinox, and then Dinobot. So that's 5. But Dinobot comes later. Like he's not even part of the first 4 people.
Right.
And Danny comes later. You know what I mean? And then you have the villains, and then you can add on and remove, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's just, here's 10 superheroes.
Yeah.
You know any of them? No.
Yeah, it is. It is problematic. I'm a big again. I big fan of the Eternals as a comic. I have the Neil Gaiman Eternals run that he did. I have the Daniel Kuna, I think is the artist's name. I might be saying that wrong. I'm not 100% sure. Apologies. But I have like some of his issues. The Eternals as a story is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like these kind of gods that have to deal with being on Earth. And I think one of the runs I have is done by John Romita Jr., the son of the John Romita Sr., who worked on Spider-Man back in the day, one of the most famous Spider-Man like artists. So Junior, who I've gotten to meet at Fan Expo in Toronto, he's a great guy. And like his run on Eternals was so much fun, and his art is great. And although he kind of draws blocky, it was fun to see like Icarus and all these characters come together, because in that run, the story is that they don't remember who they are, and they have to come back together to do stuff. And that's kind of like this movie like leaned on like some people having this issue with being gods and disappearing, and they split them up. But even with the splitting them up, the story didn't necessarily work out the best. And I can see why Dave would say, hey, this didn't work. This wasn't. And for 2021, when we were already hoping for more after, I don't mind Black Widow, but Black Widow had come out, and we're hoping for more movies that will kind of land. Because this comes out after Shang-Chi in 2021 also. Unfortunately, this one wasn't the strongest.
Right.
So yeah, I get it. So On to his 2022. Our good boy Dave hit us with The Batman.
Yeah, nice.
I could say that is very fair. I would
Yeah.
say it is very fair to say that The Batman is one of the best movies of 2022, especially in the superhero genre. I think, like I was saying in the last episode, I loved The Batman. I don't think I needed the Penguin, but I'm not mad at the Penguin.
I was hearing some people really dug the Penguin, and they're like, "This is how you write a very narcissistic character." Yes,
I agree with that. I agree 100% that like he is the epitome of a narcissist. He is doing the work to be a disgusting person.
mm-hmm. He's playing the game. Oh,
I took myself out of the stream by accident. Sorry about that, buddy. I meant to take that off. Yeah, he's playing the game. He's being abusive. He's mistreating everybody. He's doing what he has to do. As someone who there's a very specific comic, the Joker's Asylum, a run that they did in a couple years ago. They did a story with the Penguin. I think that is one of the best depictions of the Penguin to show you how much he doesn't care about people. He buys someone out of sex slavery and makes them his like girlfriend. That person actually feels like they're being saved. But mind you, I think that one of the things that's really unfortunate is the person at the time when they're being saved by the Penguin isn't aware, or I guess doesn't take into consideration why was he at a that type of auction in the first place. Like,
yeah,
exactly. Even if
exactly.
he saves you, shouldn't you be asking those questions? But anyways,
I think when that happens, you're not.
Yeah, true. She's just being saved, so she's happy.
You're just like, oh, I got saved. Oh my god,
Yeah.
this person, I'm indebted to this person.
But then she's indebted to him. But by the end of the story, she realizes that she figures out that he's not a good person. And I'm like, oh, and then he sells her back. And that to me, that's the type of character the Penguin is. Like that story sounds dark, but that story really hits home about how disgusting the Penguin is as a person. He wants to be loved. If he doesn't feel love, he will toss you away.
Right.
Or even if he does feel love, he will toss you away. And like a narcissist, he cares more about himself and what he wants than anything else. So I think when it comes to that depiction in the show, cool. I do like Matt Reeves's Batman universe.
Yep.
I have concerns about Warner Brothers again getting their grubby little hands on it.
Because this universe morphed, right? It was originally supposed to be the Ben Affleck Batman movie based off of the Justice League movies,
right?
And then that got dropped.
Yeah.
And then Matt Reeves came and did his own thing with it.
Yeah.
And now people are digging it, and now we don't even know where it's going to go from here. I mean, they did the Penguin, yes.
Yeah. And we're getting the Batman too.
Well. And they're making Batman too. But
to me personally, I don't think it's a good idea to have a competing universe at the same time as James Gunn is trying to establish his thing. I have comments on Gunn's universe that I'm going to talk about in a little bit later when I do my part. But I think that the Batman as an IP probably better to stand alone.
Right.
Like I don't ever one of the reasons Nolan Batman works so well is because Nolan's Batman is grounded.
Yeah.
The least grounded character was Bane in the sense that he's drugging himself and making himself huge. But other than that,
but it's even weird because if you're looking at a face value, you don't know that he's necessarily drugging. He's more so drugging himself so he doesn't feel pain. Other than that, he's just a jack dude.
Right.
Which is like, oh, okay, sure. That's a decision. Go for it.
They bring people back from the dead technically with the pit. But you don't actually.
No, the pit feels like more of a metaphor. It doesn't even feel like it's an actual Lazarus pit. It seems more like a metaphor.
True. Yeah. So that's having Batman be that grounded helps in a world where you don't have Superman and stuff like that, and you can tell those stories better cinematically, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So the Batman is a story that would likely never touch on the superheroes, like the superheroes.
Yeah, it'll always be a battle for Gotham, and never be a battle for the world.
Right, and that's where they should keep it, and I think that's better. Whereas like Affleck joined the Justice League and was driving around in his souped up Batmobile, but you had Aquaman, Superman, and Wonder Woman like flying,
Yeah.
like stuff like that. It's just like, okay, this doesn't
Again, I
feel
would I would like to, like, if they go and do that, I would definitely want to see them do parts of, Justice League Unlimited, where it's like
yeah,
Batman has to take out a missile, a nuclear missile, and he's the only person that can get there because
right,
everyone else is too slow to can't make it. He drops in, boom, blows it up with his Batwing, and then he's just
yeah.
falling from the sky. I need a pickup. Where
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah,
Falling.
yeah, yeah. That's the
I need a
thing.
pickup.
I'm thinking Gunn's universe should be able to play on the slight comedic aspect of Batman amongst gods.
He will kill himself
Yes,
to save everybody. He's
right.
willing to do that. He will, but it's just
100%.
like, all right, oh, I didn't have
Yeah,
I
there's a
didn't do my
flat fee.
pre-flight check, so I'm not gonna have a my cape could only do so much while I'm
Yeah,
falling in
yeah.
this velocity. Like, I need to pick up. I need to pay up.
So good. So Dave gave
Oh,
us.
and
Oh, sorry.
also, sorry, one more. I think there was one where they all got turned into kids,
Yeah, that's a good episode. And Wonder Woman has a crush on him.
and everyone could fly except Batman.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's like, "Yo, Soups can, like, hold me, and I'll hold on to him." But Diana's like, "Yo, I could hold
Yeah,
on to you." And he's just like, it just
that was a good
accentuates
episode.
that whole.
Hey, we've said it on this podcast for like 5 years, if not longer. If you guys just take Justice League and made live action, I
Yeah,
think everyone would love that because
it'll work.
it will work. We're all there for it. We all loved it, and I feel like we're getting a close. Gunn feels like he's leaning toward because like he's got his Aaron
I
Pierre.
feel, if he said, "Hey, Bruce Timm, can you do the storyboard slash sitting on these writing meetings, just sitting on
Right?
the writing, just sit
Yeah,
on the
man.
just come in and sit on it, and then, kind of, if, hey, Tim, you did this before. How did you do
Yeah,
this before, Bruce? How'd you get around? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, you couldn't do that because of censorship. Okay, we'll
exactly.
try it your
Yeah,
way
yeah.
that you didn't get
What
to do.
what does a PG-13 superhero movie look like? Let's do it. We can push the line quite a bit. God, I would love it. Dave gave us 2 films for
Ooh,
his worst. He actually also gave us an honorable mention. He gave us Violent Night, which if you guys have not seen Violent Night, that is the
that
one with
is the
David
Santa
Arbor.
one.
Yeah. Where Santa it's essentially Die Hard at Christmas.
Yeah.
So David Arbor plays Santa Claus, but he plays Santa Claus. I'm trying to remember his name. Like it's like a Viking name, like Santa Claus. Like he's
Oh, okay.
actually like there's a scene that flashes back to what he was before he was Santa, and it's
Mhm.
like him covered in blood with like a war hammer on a battlefield, and it made for a really interesting film. I saw that one in theaters,
Ooh.
shockingly. I know, which is again, as you always point out, why do you see the bad ones? But that's
I
actually a
didn't
good
say
one.
that one was bad.
No, I'm
That
saying
must have been fun.
it was a fun one to see in theaters. It's just shocking to watch that in theaters because you see it and you're just like, this doesn't even make sense, but it's so enjoyable. So it's kind of funny that he put that as a honorable mention for 2022. For 2022, worst film, he has a tie. So he asked me to share both. So the first one, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
The part that I didn't, I was on a flight and I was sort of in and out of watching this. I think I was looking over at someone else's screen, and
Okay.
I noticed there was always a lot of kids, and I was like, "What's up with these kids?
Yes, that's funny that you say that. Yeah.
Why is there so
So
much kids? I don't
part
get
of
it."
the story is like there's all these kids that get kidnapped from New Asgard, which is the village that
Mm,
all the Asgardians are living in. Kind of like a Pied Piper type story almost,
okay.
where the kids have been kidnapped and now they're trying to get the kids back.
So it's just
So
like, what does this have to do with the God Slayer guy? What does that have to do with Christian
yeah,
Bale's character?
dude, if you if you try and understand it, you will just be disappointed. But
and then I guess this is a one where they just let Taika Waititi do whatever the hell he wanted, and
yeah,
this is what
because
we
he did
got.
so well. Like I gotta say, I've seen people have conversations about the best Marvel trilogy.
Mm.
And people will always bring up, Iron Man, obviously, and they'll bring
Captain
up
America.
Captain America and stuff like that.
Guardians of the Galaxy is probably in
Gar-
my opinion, if I'll
yes,
see the third one, and I'm pretty sure it's going to shoot up to number one.
I would say right now, if you ask me which one has the best trilogy, I would say Guardians. Like the
And they
most
let that man go
consistent.
to the next team.
Hey man, Feige. Anyways, but one of the problems with what happened is with Thor. So I think Thor's the only one to have 4 so far, right?
Yes.
Right, because the next one's going to be Captain America, but even then, it's not even the same lead.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth got to play Thor as the lead in 4 films, and I feel like a lot of the reasons he got to do Thor: Love and Thunder was because people loved Ragnarok so much that they were just like, okay, fast track a 4th film, and then Taika did the 4th one, and then that did not deliver. Most people didn't like it, even though it has Bale playing a great villain.
From my understanding, Bale plays an amazing villain. From what I've heard, and he was really giving it his all. Like he wasn't half. He put his whole ass in it. He wasn't half-assing it.
100%.
And who else was in there too?
Tessa Thompson's in it. Natalie Portman comes back.
No, who plays Zeus?
Oh, Russell
Crowe. So I mean, he seems more like he's joking around, but like that kind of style.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what are these kids? I'm confused. Like, are you trying to make it appeal more to kids? Is it? I don't know what you're.
I feel like Taika thought it would be good to bring back Natalie Portman, and that a lot of people would be interested because it takes from the Mighty Thor run where her character is Thor.
Yeah, she becomes worthy, basically.
Yeah, and Mjolnir, the hammer, is protecting her because spoilers, I guess, but she has cancer. So
does that come up in this movie?
Yeah, in the comic book and in the movie, she has cancer, and Mjolnir is trying to protect her essentially, which is very nice. But it's hard to make. I'll give Taika this: it is very hard to make a good superhero movie where one of your leads is dying of cancer. Like, it's very sad.
I came for a fun Thor movie, and all I got was cancer.
Yeah, dude, it's difficult, but and I think Taika was trying to tell the story, and I think there are elements of it that are really nice with Portman as Jane Foster. I think right, Jane Foster.
I think so.
But there's also it just isn't great as a film, unfortunately. And that's the other thing. His other mention for worst of 2022 is Black Adam. And that is a significantly fair statement. It's not.
What's really bad about that movie is that I find the League of, what are they called again? League of Heroes? No, it's not Justice League of America.
Justice Society
don't make a good compelling argument for him to not kill.
Oh, fact, dude. Facts.
I mean, you shouldn't kill. It's not good. But obviously the system is so corrupt that Intergang, a company called Intergang, could take over a country. And everyone's just like, well, it's a country, Intergang. And it's like, that seems very, how did it even get to that point? It seems very odd,
I think, you watch the movie.
That's a weird, tough story to do and tell. And it sucks because, again, what's his name? Former James Bond is in it.
Oh, Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan's in it. He was really good. I really enjoyed him as Dr. Fate.
Aldous Hodge as Hawkman. Aldous Hodge as Hawkman and Dr. Fate's relationship is the shining light of that film. Them actually caring about each other. Like, I didn't care about the Twister girl, and I didn't care about. I didn't
mind the Twister girl and the other kid.
Not that I didn't. Sorry, I guess I shouldn't. I'm indifferent that they were in the film. Much like Janessa said in the last episode, where she mentioned how, you know, Zendaya, I could replace Zendaya in The Challengers.
Mm.
I could replace the actress who played that
Right.
role. And like, she didn't stick out at me, unfortunately. And
Mhm.
same thing with the homeboy that played Noah. Noah Clementi or whatever his name is, who's supposed to be He-Man, right? At some point, it was.
I guess so. I
Yeah,
think
there
that's
was.
still happening. I'm not sure.
I don't know if he's still in it, but
Okay.
but like, yeah, like those two, I was like, okay, but Pierce and Aldous really shine on the screen together as and I, you know, it's funny we talk about everyone, but we didn't talk about the lead, and I don't even want to talk about him because I just I think one of the biggest mistakes ever made with this franchise, the Black Adam franchise, is that he never allowed for Black Adam to be introduced in Shazam, and Shazam 2 is horrible for it, and Black Adam is horrible for it, and that's unfortunately where we are. Dave's favorite of 2023. We'll run through these real quick now because we do. I still also want to do my list, and you still also have stuff you want to talk about. So Dave's 2023 was John Wick 4, Chapter 4.
Didn't get to see John Wick 4 yet, and I feel I'm kicking myself because so much good people are in this movie, and I want to see it.
Fantastic cast, fantastic movie, great story. You know, Bill Skarsgård, as we mentioned earlier, in everything. But
I didn't even know he was in it, so don't tell me anything.
No, Lance Reddick, like touching Lance Reddick. Always hard to think about, but John Wick Chapter 4, fantastic film, great cast and great action. He also gave honorable mention to Across the Spider-Verse, which you also mentioned was one that you want to watch that you didn't get to watch, and Guardians 3, which we've been mentioning a lot throughout this conversation. And then his worst film that he that he gave us was The Flash, which I feel I mean, even me, 1-star review. Yeah. What can be said about The Flash that hasn't been said about crap?
Yeah.
It smelled. It was bad.
Put the babies.
Oh.
In the microwave. Put them in the microwave.
Jawz.
They need to go in the microwave. Zero context. Put them in the microwave.
I remember being in the theater with my partner, sitting next to her, and when the babies started falling, saying to my partner, "Oh, I get it. This is a comedy." And her looking at me like, "I don't think this is a comedy." And I was like, well, it has to be a comedy. This is essentially a Looney Tunes sketch, like like the Flash running around catching babies as they're falling from a building. This is comedy. Is this not comedy? And no, it was not meant to be comedy. And
super serious.
Like I don't even know what I'm looking at when I watch that movie. And then, you know, knowing Dave as we do, Dave, you made it.
We just finished your list.
Dude, we're finishing your list. We just finished your list. We've been literally talking about your list for almost 30 minutes. We're at
seriously?
Yes.
That's funny.
I've been doing your list because I figured I would start with it. Okay, so I'm on your number one. I'll let you talk about your number one for 2024. Your favorite movie was. I'm sharing the wrong tab. There we go.
Your number one is The Crow. Yay. Congrats, Crow.
Don't even joke. He might stab somebody. We can't hear you if you're talking, buddy. All of a sudden.
I don't see him in the corner here. There you go.
There you are. Sorry, buddy.
I'm back. No, I think it's a bit of a lag on my side. It's okay. So wait, so you've gone through all the other years already, I'm assuming?
Yes. Palm Springs. Like we went all the way down the list. We've been talking about all the movies, about how we feel about the movies, about how we feel about cinema in those years. So it was actually a really good list. So shout outs to you. I'm happy you were able to jump on. But yeah, we're at 2024. So
so I'll just say the caveat for my choices before. They were like Dave's picks, like blockbuster styles. Like because I know some of them weren't necessarily. Like example, Palm Springs, I think is a great movie. Was it the best movie of that year? Probably not. But it was one that was like, it was the sleeper of that year, in my opinion.
That is fair.
That's just, I'm not going to go through the whole list because you guys obviously talked about it all. I'm not going to redo it all there. But that's how it was. Did you also do the worst or did you go?
Yeah, we did the best.
I did
the worst.
Okay,
I've been sharing them both on the screen and discussing them. Yeah.
That's why, because like there were some years I remember I was going through the lists of like the movies that came out. I'm like, some years I'm like, oh, this is really hard. I'm like, some years I'm like, it's really hard to choose the worst movie. Like this is really, really crap. years or good years. But the funny thing is, with that being said, for this year, I thought that the choices for me were quite definitive and easy. So one being obviously Deadpool and Wolverine. Anyone who knows me knows those are like, they're like my top 5 of like, they're 2 of my top 5 characters that I've always followed, and those 2 being the best actors taking on those roles. Obviously, I thought that was one of the better movies of the year, and because it was one of the things that cinema is missing, which is just fun content.
Yeah,
not every movie has to be a war epic drama
10 on 10.
Right. Exactly. Right. Like that's one of the reasons why I thought that movie was one of the best of this year, because it was like, it reminded me a lot of like, it actually reminded me a lot of the 80s and 90s movies, like I found in the 80s and 90s, like you went to the theater. It's funny because I was watching a Seinfeld episode the other day where it's like Elaine like wants to see some like crappy movie in the theater. It's like some stupid like Sausage Party-esque movie, but everyone wants to see like The English Patient, and everyone's loving The English Patient. Like, I hate it. She hates
Isn't
it.
she like in the movie complaining next to Peterman?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And everyone's like looking at her, and Peterman's like, I think doesn't she get?
She gets fired.
Yeah, he fired. I was like, I'm pretty sure I remember the scene where he like turns to her and he's like, well, you're fired. Yeah.
He's like, that's because he's like, they're at work. She's like, oh, I haven't seen the movie. He's like, you haven't seen the movie, and like he cancels all the movies.
We have to go see it right
now. So like with that being said, I just think it was one of the best. Obviously, cameos of the year for sure. That's at least one in Deadpool. And then the worst movie of this year, the easiest possible fucking thing, The Fucking Crow is the absolute worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Bill Skarsgård on the screen again, because we've been talking about him a lot.
That dude, man, you got to pick a lane, the better lane. This is not your lane. The ones that don't let you talk and cover your face are so far the best movies that have come out there. So I'm saying that right now. But yeah, no, but I thought those were for this year. So I thought it was hilarious. I thought when I jumped in, because you guys mentioned my name, like, did I get to the beginning? Did I get to where
we took advantage of the fact, because we did the last, we did that last episode with Janessa, and we got to talk about all her movies. And then, at the beginning of this one, Jawz and I were trying to figure out what we were going to do. Jawz said, maybe we don't do his list because you're going to end up shitting on all his stuff. And I was just like, no, I promise I won't shit on his list. And then we did.
And I kept him in check. I was like, really?
He did. And we did your list. And if anything, I think one of the things that's an advantage for your list is your list has so much crossover, at least from the superhero stuff with my list, that because like, if you were like, I was kind of going to do a similar thing where I was going to say, essentially, what were the worst ones in the last 5 years and what were the best ones in the last 5 years, but it wasn't going to be year specific. But Wonder Woman 1984 is one of the worst movies that came out in the last 5 years for superhero stuff. The Flash is one of the worst movies. Like my 5 worst films for the last, and I'm only doing superhero movies because I decided to stick to superhero movies, but my 5 worst films are mostly DC, because Wonder Woman 84 is on there, Black Adam is on there, and The Flash is on there. Actually, Shazam! Fear of the Gods and The Flash are tied around. But then I have to give Morbius. It has to, Morbius and Madam Web.
Oh, no room for Craven yet. No room for Craven to come in there, sneaking in between.
You guys are going to be shocked. I didn't hate Craven. I saw Craven in theaters, and I didn't hate Craven. So I'll talk about that in a second. If
I didn't think, honestly, based off of the commercials, I'm like, for Craven, I'm like, this, because you know what it is? When you saw Morbius and you saw the Madam Web commercials, you're like I haven't gotten in the theater yet, and it's bad. Yeah. Like I haven't even ventured yet.
I feel like you're kind of like, who the hell's going to be the antagonist? Who's going to be the bad guy of this movie? Like that's very vague. But I feel with Craven, it's like, oh, it's
his dad.
It looks like Rhino. That kind of looks like Rhino.
Yeah.
I'm betting that's Rhino.
And you at least like, so one of the things. So I'll say that. So my worst films, again, Wonder Woman 84 is on there because I feel like I mentioned before earlier on, I feel like they genuinely disappointed. I feel like there's a lot of like mistakes made with that production. And again, that major aspect to me, how much that armor means is significantly important, and seeing it misused really did bother me.
And
so
Pascal's only stumble.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal has been pretty solid. Mind you, Gladiator too. But anyways, but Black Adam is in my top 5 for
comparatively to Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I was about to say, man. I don't think that's fair. Man. I don't think his acting is what made that movie bad. Like, let's just be serious.
Fair. You guys are right. That is fair. I will give you that. Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying,
like, what other movies has anybody else in Wonder Woman 84 has done except Chris Pine? Chris Pine's still doing other things. He's had a bunch of other movies.
He has done other things. I feel like I haven't seen him since then.
He's done a few things.
He's done a few things. Like one of his movies was a very controversial because a bunch of stuff was happening behind the scenes and da.
Yeah, the one with Timothée Chalamet and Harry Styles.
Yeah, that one.
And Olivia Wilde and stuff.
There was that one, and then he came out with his own movie called the Water Boy, the Pool Boy, the Pool Man.
Which is where he's like an adult who cleans pools but gets stuck in some espionage story. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's doing some weird stuff.
Well, it seems like a what's it called? The Great Lebowski. It's like the Great the Big Lebowski kind of deal. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. But yeah, so Wonder Woman 84, Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and The Flash. The Flash and Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Black Adam, I almost feel like should be tied for worse. Like
wow.
Because like
Aquaman got.
You know what? Out of the list, Aquaman isn't even in my bottom 10.
But Aquaman or Aquaman 2? Because Aquaman
2. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I was going to say Aquaman will do.
Remember, we had like 25 superhero movies come out in the last 5 years.
Oh shit! I didn't think about that.
We had Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, The Suicide Squad, The Batman, Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, and The Lost Kingdom. And then on the Marvel side with Sony, we had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Eternals, Spider-Man, No Way Home, Morbius, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Madam Web, Deadpool and Wolverine, Venom the Last Dance, Spider-Man Across the Universe, and Kraven the Hunter.
It's fine. I still haven't seen Blue Beetle or Aquaman 2 yet.
Yeah?
No, but I don't know. I feel Blue Beetle almost is like, I felt it was very it looked based off of what you described in the commercials. It felt it was like I was like, did DC do the cookie cutter? Sounded like they did the cookie cutter a bit.
Sure. I know
Jawz was trope of it, yes, but maybe certain aspects of it, no. Like the more Latino family part, no.
And Jawz mentioned that earlier, and that is fair. Was it this episode or last episode that you talked about?
Last episode.
Yeah, Jawz did mention in the last episode that the Latinx aspect of the story. And I know the thing that sucks about that is because these communities don't get represented a lot, when you put them on the screen, you end up inadvertently making it look tropey without meaning to. But it's not that it's a trope. That is how a Latin community family would work. If one of they take care of each other, they love each other, the abuelita lives in the house, the family is there, you have the crazy young, that is a thing. That's that community. That's how they are. So when you add the fact that someone in the family becomes a superhero and is being hunted, the story is going to be the family trying to protect that person. And I'll give Jawz made the valid point, and I think that's one of the elements that maybe I didn't see when I first saw the film, and I probably should have taken more into consideration. They are trying to tell that story, and they're trying to tell it while telling you a superhero story, origin story, and they did it well. It's just that it unfortunately came at a rough time. And I also think the disadvantage to the hindrance to the film was they initially made the film for HBO Max. It was going to be like one of those just Max films, and then pivoted. And I feel like the pivot causes more pressure on the film, which I don't know if it was ready to deliver. And that's one of the things. But I do think the film was fun. But then Madam Web and Morbius are the bottom 2 for Marvel.
100. That's an easy without really trying.
Yeah, like if you're looking at that list, it is kind of crazy that it's just so bad. It's just so bad. But then, for my top 5 Marvel movies, and I said this to Jawz earlier because I forgot to consider an animated film, and I think that was unfair of me. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse would be my number one in the last 5 years. I think when you watch all these movies, every movie I listed, Deadpool, Wolverine, great. Spider-Man, No Way Home. I didn't even with it that way. Like you guys heard my review. I never cared about it that way. And those are the only movies on that list that I feel people would be like, yo, those are way better. But for me, when it comes down to it, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse continues. Like, it's very hard to do a sequel that well. The performance, the art, the story, all of it, fantastic. Dude, the fucking Desi Spider-Man, like
it's close to Empire style. Like Empire, like I always say Empire Strikes Back is probably the best sequel. It's arguably the best sequel in any franchise history. Yeah. Like when you try and do a sequel, you're aiming for Empire Strikes Back. You're not aiming for Airplane 2. Like, you know what I mean? So it almost empired the first one. The only thing is I do find that the first one was just it was so good in doing the multiverse and like within a specific character, and to do it that like anyone watching will get it. You know what I mean? It's not like you need to be don't get me wrong. If you were a Spider-Man fan, then obviously it's almost like Deadpool and Wolverine in the sense there's so many cameos coming in, right? Like, and you're like, oh my god, that person's there. Oh my god, that person's there.
And you know what's funny? I will say this. I think I was more accepting of the cameos as animated than I am with live action. Because with live action, for some reason, it bothers me when I see Wesley Snipes come back, when I see Jennifer Garner come back, when I see Channing Tatum come in. As much as those scenes were fun, I'm annoyed that I'm just like, more fan service. But if you do it animated and you gave me, when I see Spider-Man 2099, when I see Spider-Man from India, when I see hopefully they bring in Silk, like when I see these characters come in,
Spider-Man from India and he's shitting on people that say chai tea,
right? Like,
it's like, yo, let me give you some cultural knowledge right now,
dude.
It sounded stupid.
And it was so well done. Like, to have a movie about Spider-Man where, and like the lore of Spider-Man, and finding out that every Spider-Man has to lose like their Uncle Ben, and you do that whole movie. Sorry, my pins are all hitting each other and making a noise in my headphones. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing that. No. But you have all these Spider-Man and they're all talking about it. Peter Parker shows up and helps the Desi Spider-Man and helps protect him and saves the like chief of police guy. But somehow in that scene, you still had amazing, perfectly timed comedic performance with the whole history of the like chai tea, and him even breaking the news about Gwen hanging out with Spider-Punk, Hobie, and like you got all these little things in a segment that felt like it was supposed to be just kind of not a throwaway, but a pass-through scene. But it established so much and was fun. And that's what I love about that movie, that it had scenes like that were so fun.
I also think for when you have cameos in a animated versus a real life, first of all, cameos you have more control of the timing of the cameo, because a cameo in an animated feature, it could be just a person walking in the background very, very simply. Whereas, like, let's say you have, or it could be the whole
right,
thing.
Because if you had Wesley Snipes walk in the background and not say a line, but he's just dressed as Blade, people would have been pissed. I would have been pissed. I agree. Yeah. I agree. That is fair. Because you could have, like, Spider Pig could walk in the background of a different scene, and you all we just laugh at it.
Yeah.
But you can't have recognizable actors who've played characters walk in the background and not address it. That's fair. I'll give you that.
And you also have to pay attention to actual aging and stuff, which is not required in an animated thing. Sorry, I just wanted to add to that.
But ultimately, I still think that the cameos, the way they did them in the animated film, whether or not that comes, like, that aspect, it is more fun for me to see those ones because of the fact that I don't have to take into consideration age, and because of the fact that it doesn't steal away from the movie. You can still do them subtly, and it still just adds to the fun of the movie. If I was going to say what my second, so that's my favorite Sony Spider-Man movie, favorite Sony movie for Marvel. if I was going to say what my favorite Marvel movie in the last 5 years, because we've gotten a lot, and I know Deadpool and Wolverine is cusping. It's cusping only in the sense that it's Fox lore being merged in. I would have to say, and I know this is, again...
Don't say Eternals.
No, it's not Eternals. It's not Eternals.
That'll argue.
If I'm going to say which one was my favorite, the Marvels.
That's fair.
Oh, the Marvels.
They were good. It was a good movie.
I thought people were going to, because I love the Marvels. I genuinely love the Marvels. I think that it's like I have the Lego set. Like I really found that film fun. If you were to ask me which one was the actual best, Guardians Volume 3. So I'll say that.
Yeah. Because Guardians took the cookie cutter, but went to the extreme on every point.
It's not even cookie cutter. By the third, you're getting I can't even say that I'm getting Rocky as I'm not getting Rocky's origin story as like a hero. I'm getting Rocky's story as it pertains to what has happened in this universe. It's different when we tell a story as this is Spider-Man, this is Spider-Man growing up. Rocky's story was about the fact that this guy was doing insane shit and testing insane shit to try and make the perfect being. And Rocky so happened to be an example of something that he did. So we had to give you that story. And throughout that, I like that we got Rocky's story, but it also is genuinely a great film.
Yeah. It's just what I meant by extreme of the cookie cutter, in the sense of I think it took the elements of what you usually have and said, how can we make that better?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not going to tell the origin story. We're going to do exactly everything that you had said, right? Yeah. We're gonna make sure that there's these epic action scenes, and they're gonna be great. We're gonna kick you, excuse my language, but we're gonna kick you in the balls in regards to the fields, because you're gonna see these animals, and these animals are gonna have emotions, and they're gonna have the most epic emotional moment in life.
It's funny because the animals having emotion, least interesting thing to me, but that's because I'm me. I know
dude, you kidding me? Seeing animals cry and actually be I couldn't
nothing.
Handle it.
I don't care about your animals. I care about good movies.
Okay.
Wow.
Jawz,
Jesus.
Let's go through your list. What do you got for us?
All right. So no order, because that just so happens. I put The Fall Guy. I actually really enjoyed that movie. It's one of those things where I find it's very funny, where people are just super into the behind the scenes of movies, and they're always terminally online and oh, I don't like this movie because this, that, and the other. Oh, did you hear what happened behind the scenes of this movie? And this movie's literally that.
Yeah.
No one went to go see it.
I saw it opening weekend.
Well, I'm just saying in general, it didn't do very well. It's not even an original idea. It's from an old 80s, early 70s property that no one remembers at all.
Yeah.
And it was trying to kind of ride that momentum of
Lee Majors,
of what's his name, of Ryan Gosling doing really good as Ken in Barbie.
Right. True.
And it was really good.
That's true. That did ride the coattails of that. Yeah. That's a good point.
And I thought it was a really good movie. It tried its best to be hey, stuntmen are really amazing. And it brings up those little things during hey, do you guys get you guys get Oscars up? No, we don't get really any recognition or anything like that. And I thought the last joke of the movie was so good. The whole point of this movie is that he's trying to find was it Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Yeah.
He's trying to find, so he's the big name actor that's anchoring this whole movie, and he goes disappearing, and then the producer is hey, can you come back and find him and stuff? And then he goes through all this trouble and all this adventure happen, and at the end, the big ending joke is so good and probably something that would actually happen, where all the time you hear about, oh, they're gonna do a bunch of reshoots out of nowhere, oh, maybe it might be bad, maybe it might be good, we don't know. And that last joke was so good. It was so good. And it was fun to see a movie where, I think I've mentioned this before, where the sky is not falling. Oh no,
right.
The world's going to end and this, that, and the other. It's no, is this movie going to come out? Are we going to get this movie out? It's such a nice, small focus. Even though the main character's life is on the line kind of
right.
thing,
I was going to say, yeah.
he still wants the movie out. He still wants to help the director get the movie out and be pushed to the next level. And it really shows like what happens with movies. Movies is a group effort. It's not just one person doing everything and I'm the lone. No, it's everybody coming together to do everything and pushing each other forward and, you know, really giving good feedback and this and that. You know, like the fact that, you know, we talked about with Janessa about Denis Villeneuve being a really good director,
right?
And just having a lot of bangers, just A's. And the fact that he said, "Hey, Batista, I think you could be an actor. I think I'm willing to put some, like, you should really take this in consideration and go for it." And Batista's like, "Okay, I'll try." And he's like one of the best wrestling
100%.
actors out there. He really cares, and like that's super important.
I would dare say the best. I still can't think of a wrestler who has given us a better general overall acting ability than him.
Hulk Hogan.
And I'm saying like
Hulk Hogan pretending to be a good person. Yeah, that is
pretty. Hi-oh. But you know, just saying like in general, that says a lot of someone seeing something in you and just kind of, hey, if you really push yourself, I'm gonna put you in this. I'm gonna put you and like true to his word, always pushing him like, hey, and he's like, I don't know, man. Like, trust me, I think you got this. Don't worry about this.
Yeah, that's true.
So Fall Guy, I think to me it was a lot bigger than people actually realize it was.
Okay.
And it's sad that people didn't gravitate to it. Another movie on my list, animated movie, TMNT Mutant Mayhem. I thought that was really amazing. I thought it was really cool. I liked how it changed up how the turtle story is done, where it's like they're younger and then they actually have they want to be in school. They want to be normal. They want to have that experience that they see on TV. All this stuff we're watching on TV where kids go to school. They're like, I want to be a part of that. I want to do stuff like that. So I thought that was a really cool change up of the Ninja Turtles. You know, we've gone from them being very silly and corny, and you know, we can't show them fighting hardcore because we're on Saturday morning cartoons here, and you know, parents are mad. To them being more realist, more like the original comics.
Yeah, and also more grounded. Like, because I didn't, you know, I had my thing with this movie, which I regret that I did, because like I've said, I've watched the cartoon, and the cartoon that the movie is based off of is fantastic. Like, storytelling is great, and it feels like an attempt to, instead of them hiding, like, it's like the world knows they exist now, and it's just gotten used to the idea that they exist.
They got used to that. Mutants exist in general.
Yes. Mutants exist in general, because there's other mutants too. And that, like, when you're watching it, you're just like, when I watched the show, I was just like, man, I really should give the movie a chance, because the show is such a great story and continuation.
Is the show the same type of animated stuff, or is it 2D?
It's literally a continuation of this. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Like, existed. It picks up where the movie, because they make references to things that happen in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like if you want to have like a New York kind of double feature, you would watch Spider-Man Homecoming, because then you'll get all like the 70s rock punk scene. You'll get the Ramones and all that kind of stuff. And then you watch this movie and you'll get like the early 90s hip hop feel of New York and stuff like that. So I feel like that would be like a really cool comic book double feature you could do.
That's awesome.
So I really like Mutant Mayhem. An anime on this list, the first Slam Dunk. So Fall Guy was 2024. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was 2023. The first Slam Dunk was 2020. I was lucky enough to see it in theaters. Definitely an awesome movie based off an awesome anime. You can actually watch the whole anime on Netflix right now.
Oh, wow.
So this particular story is about the point guard Ryota Miyagi, and it talks about his backstory during a really tough game they have against one of the top teams in Japan. It's basically a sports anime about, you know, basketball teams during high school, and all these guys, a lot of them on this team for Shohoku, are kind of misfits, and you know, they're kind of boys that are like, you know, they were hooligans, they're in like, you know, like teen gangs and stuff like that, and they're finally finding like a family, a good outlet through basketball, and trying to really get really get and be the national champions, and they want to fulfill that. And their main captain, his name isn't Gory. Gory is just a nickname for him being a gorilla, and he's like half black, and so they kind of stay away. Yeah, it's when you watch the original anime, you're gonna be like, what? But it's from like the early 90s.
I know.
But when he does get called that, he's not putting up, but he's smacking dudes out.
Okay.
He's like, shut up, that's not my name. And he's like, I'm your senior, and you're gonna treat me with freaking respect, and back, and he's just knocking dudes out. So, but it's just like it's like, it's about a bunch of boys in high school trying to like, see what they're made of. And like I said, the captain, that's his last year. This is his last chance to make it to the nationals. And they're like, no, like this guy believes us. And he even though we're all screw ups, he was like, no, come here and do your thing. And I need people on this team and so it was really cool to see that, and also see one of my favorite characters, Miyota, his backstory and why he plays. And he feels like he's in the shadow of his brother that sadly had an accident and stuff like that. And, trying to be the man of the house kind of thing. So that was definitely a good story to watch and good to see. And the creator of the manga, like, directed this and everything. Like, cool. He still retains the rights to all of that. So nothing's getting done unless he's allowing it to get done, and he's a part of it. Nice. So my next movie was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever 2022. It's very sad pivot that they had to do, and I'm surprised it came out as good as it did.
I always give it that.
And just dealing with the themes of grief and anger, and watching Angela Bassett give an amazing.
Didn't she get nominated?
I think she got nominated, but she didn't win again. Because she did get nominated for What's Love Got to Do with It when she played as Tina Turner. And her and Lawrence Fishburne did not win.
But take into consideration, I don't think actors. I think she was the first acting nomination
for
For
Marvel.
Marvel, because Heath Ledger won posthumously.
Right. Yeah. But for Marvel, she was the first like comic book, and like Marvel at that point had done over 20-something movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like they only got. Oh no, that's technically Sony. Because Sony and Spider-Verse got stuff. No,
animated stuff, but it's not acting. Like they don't nominate Shamik and Haley for voice acting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like first acting nomination for a Marvel cinematic. Like out of all the actors that have been in the franchise so far.
But I mean, that's the media stuff. The meat that she really got to flex her acting muscles. She'd be like, "You lost my daughter. I lost a son.
Yeah. Have I not given enough for this empire? Like, dude,
get the fuck." Like just. Yeah, you're just like, okay, I feel.
See, Dave, that's how you get me misty-eyed, not some silly animal crying.
Well, again, it's one of those things
losing everything.
I feel the movie hits a little bit harder if you're black and you're just imagining your mom yelling at you. And you're just like,
don't even start. Don't start, Jawz.
Like that whole scene in Fences. Why don't you like me, Dad? And you're just like, oh God.
Yeah.
God.
Let's not get into the feels now. Let's not do it.
So Black Panther, and then also Namor getting introduced into the whole thing, and finally being and I liked how they kind of changed his ancestry a little bit and made it more like just like, oh, I'm from Atlanta and I hate humans. It's like, we already did that with Aquaman. You really have to do something else right now. And then just kind of tweaking the pronunciation of the name. And I remember reading a story about a Hispanic guy going to see the movie with his dad, and he's like, oh, he's named Namor because, was it Loveless?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like,
exactly.
He's loveless. And he's like, Dad, that's not why he's named Namor. And then it cuts to the scene where he's just like, Namor. And he's like, ha.
No love.
The dad would like, oh, you don't know nothing. And it's like,
so good.
I know more about comics than you, Dad. So I thought
done.
that was really good. And you got the feel for the Atlanteans and understand their whole deal. Like I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
and a bunch of other stuff in there. Toussaint.
Yeah.
And my last one, Transformers 1, 2024. Really amazing movie. Sadly, didn't move the needle in respects of getting more of these, where it was something that was really good. A lot of people that got to see it really enjoyed it and liked it. But
just added it to my watch list again.
But it's just a little sad that we're not gonna get more of this. And I liked how it took 40. Yeah, Transformers 40 years old, man.
Right.
It took all the lore, everything that they've done so far, and just kind of mishmashed it and just said, okay, let's take bits and pieces of the stuff we like, and sprinkle it here, there, so we could start fresh and everyone could jump in on the same page. You don't have to go back to read a bunch of comics or a bunch of books or get the almanac or get this or get that. Like, no, you could start from here, and it's pretty much everyone can kind of ride that wave. And it's really stinks that we're not getting more of that.
I would say, though, one of the things that's great is there is a fandom out there who's supporting Transformers, if not at least on this big screen in comics. The Kirkman stuff, everyone tells me it is some of the best comic book stuff that they've read, and this kind of world that he's building where he's crossed over Transformers. He also has like Cobra Commander and G.I. Joe. Like, he's doing some really cool stuff. So it is there. It is there.
Yeah.
We got in the last few years, and I know I talked about this already, that I should have seen this, and that was a huge mistake on my part. So I hope I will try and get to watch this as soon as possible.
I got some honorable mentions I want to run through real quick.
Sure.
Godzilla -1.
Yep.
2023. Yep. Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire, 2024. Very fun movie. I like that all the monsters, they don't talk, they don't put subtitles, they're all pantomiming, and you're getting what's going on.
It's Avengers, baby. Cool. But let's go. Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home, 2021. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, 2023. I didn't get to see it. I will see it.
Yes.
I put Dune 1 Part 1, 2020, and Dune 2 Part 2, 2024. Really fun watch. Long, but super nice, done very well. Really good movies. I put Prey, the Predator movie, 2022. Didn't see it yet, want to see it, but I know it's good. And the last one I put was Boy Kills World, 2023.
Bill Skarsgård again.
Mainly because of this amazing showcase of the Salat fighting style, and for Yayan Ruyan, who plays Mad Dog in the Raid movies, and he's also John Wick. He's the choreographer. So he's in the movie as a main character. I was one of the characters, and he's doing a lot of the scenes with Skarsgård in the beginning, like with the training montage, and he comes in at the end, and I feel it's just a really good showcase. It's like, you see Bill Skarsgård in this whole story, and I feel like it's a really good showcase for him, just like another demo reel for him to do more stuff in Hollywood. But I feel like Hollywood already knows he's there, and they're getting him to do a bunch of other stuff. So I dug it, and I also like hearing John H. Benjamin's voice. It just helps. It really helps. And exactly what Dave said. Either don't make him talk, don't make Skarsgård talk, or cover his face, and you're golden. So
I was about to say, I'm like, you haven't seen for a movie for Skarsgård, you've named everything but him as the reason to watch the movie.
He was good. I think his fight scenes were definitely really good. He put the time and effort into it.
Was that him, or was that the Fall Guys? Was that him or the Fall Guys?
Callback. I mean, but
for certain scenes, it's definitely him. And then for other scenes, it's probably the stuntman, but I'm sure they put in the work and the time.
I'll put this to you, and I say this fully. When people talk about The Dark Knight, how many people talk about Bale's performance, or talk about Heath Ledger's performance? I don't know many people who talk about that movie and say, wow, Christian Bale was fantastic as Batman. Everyone talks about Heath Ledger. We all talk about, like, that movie is fantastic, but Bale's just doing what he has to do to be Batman. Heath Ledger is the star. So same thing with Bill Skarsgård. If every other element is so good that he just has to be there and do a good job, I'd say
it's fair statement.
I'd say good for Bill. Because hey, like we were saying in the last episode, Bill has done at least one or two movies a year, and that they've been, not necessarily great, but he's just always working, which is impressive. You know, good for him. Who was the other person you said? Defoe, right? You were saying Defoe is like, If you're
looking in a lot of movies, in Nosferatu, he's in it just feels like every time I'm looking around, he's like, oh, hey, I'm over here, guy. Oh, hey, I'm over here. Oh.
Well, I could actually think of one movie that Skarsgård did where he talked and it wasn't horrible, his performance. Atomic Blonde. He was in that movie.
Oh, that's
another movie I have and I haven't watched yet. I like to watch it. I know.
I just watched it recently. It's
nice.
It's
it's a good one. I like Atomic Blonde more than some of the other type kind of like spy escape movies that they've done in the last couple of years. Guys, that's the whole one. That's it. That's the whole show. We've gone over all our list. We've all Dave, it's great that you were able to jump in at the last minute. That was so funny. But yeah, man, if you guys are watching these, like we said, these are pre-recorded, but please feel free to comment below, hit us up on our socials. You can right there, our socials are on the screen, so you guys can tweet or actually not tweet. I'm never on Twitter anymore. But by all means, hit me on the IG or Threads. I'm trying with Blue Sky. I'm trying to get into Blue Sky more. But this is 2024, and we appreciate you guys supporting us for another year, and we look forward to doing more episodes, and we'll be back. Anything you guys want to tell the people before we sign off and end off 2024?
Check out Transformers Slag and the Toy Armada podcast with Aaron Archer on YouTube.
And you guys can check out my run on The Dumbest Timeline. And Dave?
I got nothing. Go watch Vox Machina. We haven't been able to review that. Go watch it. That would be my favorite thing of the last 3 years of TV.
That's fair. There you go. Yeah, that's been really good. Maybe we'll try and do a TV one early in 2025 of what things that we saw in the last couple of years. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a good one. Peace, y'all.
Bye.